Welcome to the Cinemigos. Today we are going to do a 5-minute film prep for you and teach you everything you need to know about the Coen Brothers' upcoming film, Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar.
It comes out on February 5th. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's got a huge, interesting cast, including George Clooney,
Scarlett Johansson.
Channing Tatum.
Tilda Swinton,
Ray Fiennes.
Josh Brolin.
Frances McDormand,
Jonah Hill.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Allison Pill.
And Dolph Lundgren.
Drago himself.
Yeah.
He will
So
break you.
we have a lot of cool actors, a lot of cool people getting involved. The critics are saying that it's like the funniest Coen Brothers film so far. They're not calling it a comedy though. So what?
Well,
Is it?
some people are calling it a comedy, and that's a fair thing to call it. Some people are calling it a musical because I guess there's some singing also happening. But kind of the way this all works together is that they've decided to have kind of 5 films within a film. So they're walking around this old Hollywood studio lot.
Hence the need for like a huge cast.
Yes.
A huge, massive cast. It makes a lot of sense.
Justifiable.
Okay.
So they go to these different sets, and they kind of, the movie kind of feels like that. They go to Scarlett Johansson. She's dressed up as a mermaid, and she's dancing and singing and diving into this giant pool, and the film kind of takes on that kind of feel. She's actually based on an actual actress, Esther Williams, back in those days. He used to do movies just like that.
Okay.
And in fact, the tank that she dives into is the actual tank that she would used to, Esther Williams would dive into back in the day.
Cool.
So it kind of takes on that feel. Then you go to Channing Tatum, and he's filming this sailor musical, tap dancing, Gene Kelly kind of.
Does he take his shirt off?
Film. It remains to be seen.
Ooh.
Stay tuned. Bring the kids. And they actually kind of do this this great dance number, kind of a sexually charged dance number. Kind of interesting.
Magic Mike sexually charged.
Well, remains to be seen. Bring the kids. But the bar, actually the bar that they're dancing at is actually called the Swinging Dinghy. So it gives you a sense.
Dinghy like a boat.
Yes.
The boat, yes.
Yeah, the boat
Yes,
swings.
the boat.
But actually they had a really hard time finding a choreographer who could do tap dancing. So they got the old Newsies choreographer to come in
Oh,
and
Newsies.
do that. So anyone who's a big fan of Newsies, you'll enjoy that particular scene
Yes.
and maybe the rest of it too.
You have at least that.
You have at least that to look forward to. But then you also go to George Clooney. He's filming this huge biblical epic. Kind of reminds you of the Tony Curtis, Richard Burton type of actor from back then. And so it kind of takes on all these genres at once, but it's also kind of none of them. Apparently the overall film is maybe a little more dour and serious, but still the same Coen quirkiness that we
Right.
come to expect.
Cool. And okay, so it's definitely set in like 1950s Hollywood. What happens if I don't know anything about 1950s Hollywood?
Don't see it.
Okay, cool.
It is not for you.
No,
No, there are some interesting tidbits, though.
Cool.
Actually, characters in the movie that are based off real people from that time period. Josh Brolin's character, for example, plays an MGM studio executive named Eddie Mannix, and he was notorious for trying to cover up the shady lifestyles of Hollywood's rich and famous stars in his movies.
Juicy.
Yeah. And which may come into play with Tilda Swinton's character, Hedda Hopper, who was a real gossip columnist for the LA Times. Cool. She most likely is trying to uncover whatever Josh Brolin is trying to cover up, which I believe conflict, which I believe is the disappearance of George Clooney's character, from what we gather from the trailer. Cinematographer Roger Deakins has stated that the film is not necessarily a tribute to old Hollywood, but it's more of an experience of you feeling like you're back in old Hollywood and how everything went down.
Which
at
that's
that
just
time.
like fun to
Yeah.
go back in time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And whatever. Cool. Okay, so finally, the Coen Brothers. They're an odd couple of dudes. They do some interesting films.
Yes.
So what do you expect? What do you expect walking into a Coen Brothers film? What's my viewing experience going to be? Help me be ready for the Coen Brothers.
If this is your first experience with a Coen Brothers movie, you're going to have to expect some kind of quirky humor. It's going to be funny, but it's not going to be like Dumb and Dumber funny.
Thank goodness.
It's going to have some wit to it, some actual subtle humor. The pacing's a little bit more drawn out. Their most well-known film, or most widely viewed, is probably Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? They also did The Big Lebowski, Fargo, for which they believe they won an Oscar. No Country for Old Men, which is really dark, but even that has some humor in their very quirky style.
They're very like deliberate though. They move along.
Yeah.
Yes.
They do this thing that no one else does.
Yes.
Why?
They like to describe it as they have their own part of the sandbox that they can play in Hollywood, and everyone just kind of lets them play over there and do their thing.
Go over there.
Which also means that they are masters of controlling their tone and their style.
Yeah.
Every Coen Brothers film is just them. They are a genre unto themselves. And so it's a lot of fun to see them work and a lot of fun to see them making film. So enjoy it, at least for that.
Okay, well, we are very excited. Go see Hail Caesar, February 5th. Tell us what you think, and we'll see you on the next review.
Take care.
Take care.
Hail
Thanks a lot.
Caesar.